Morning, Bill. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Morning. Is that Veronica?
Yes, this is Veronica. Good morning.
Morning. How are you, dear?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
Um, it's a little wet today up here in Texarkana.
We had that at 4 o'clock this morning, so have fun with that.
All right. Well, that's about what time it came through here. It was about, well, it was closer to 5, but yeah, it was pretty rough. Um,
Yeah.
Bill, if you can hear me, there's a couple of people that are listed as attendees. Um, Melody Green is listed as an attendee, and she's calling in from her cell phone. Her last 4 digits are 2646. If you could flip her over to a panelist where she can comment, that would be super awesome.
Trace, can you hear me?
I can now, Melody.
Thank you.
Hello, hello.
We're wet too.
I understand. Um, Before we start, let's see here. We got Will on. I think Tommy's, I don't think Tommy's listed as a panelist yet. Yeah,
So it looked like Tommy didn't put in his last name. Is that the correct Tommy?
I believe so.
Okay, he's panelist.
And they have to be a panelist to be able to comment. Is that correct?
If they're on their phone, then they have the option to unmute. All I can do is allow them to unmute on their phone.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
If you get into the computer, then we can promote them to a panelist.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to give it just another second here and then we'll get this started. I know people have got a lot of things to do today. And we've got a lot to talk about. Veronica, I got a text from Kim about a few minutes ago. She had something come up last minute that she was not able to be here for the meeting. Would you be able to take notes today, please, ma'am?
I'll do my best.
And I'll love you long time, I promise.
Well, just you'll have to look at my notes first before you say that. So, sure, I'll try.
Yeah, just. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this started. It's a couple of minutes after 10. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Will Martin, if you can hear us, if you can unmute yourself, can you give us the American pledge and the Texas pledge, sir?
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and do roll call. I am present, I think. Veronica?
I'm present. Veronica's present.
All right. Will?
Here.
All right. Tommy?
Present.
Kim Rogers is not present. Emil?
I'm here.
All right. Melody is here. And do we have our new member present today? I'm gonna guess that's a no.
Well, who would that, are you referring to Corey Harris?
Yes.
Then yes, I am here.
Well, good. All right, Corey, good. Glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here. Thank you, sir.
Corey, if you'd like, did you get to kind of tell us about, were you at the last meeting? I wasn't at the last meeting, unfortunately.
I was present. Yes.
Okay, so you got to kind of do a little intro there and kind of let us know what you're about, or?
I did not.
Okay, well, would you please kind of give us your story real quick so we can all get to know you a little better?
A real quick one, sure thing. Well, my name is Corey Harris. I live in Arlington, originally from New Orleans. I attended university here in Arlington, got my bachelor's degree in philosophy in 2011. My wife is a nurse. She also received her bachelor's from UTA at the same time. She works in labor and delivery. We have 3 children, Luke, Elizabeth, and Alexander. And I run a real estate business here in Arlington, as well as being involved in a lot of different civic organizations like the local and the state Freemasons fraternity, and also our local Lions Club, which is how I got involved in bingo, because I've been handling the charitable bingo here in Arlington for about the last 6 or 7 years, I suppose. And so that's how I kind of got my feet wet in charitable bingo. But that's pretty much the long and the short of it. I'm very excited that you guys extended an invitation for me to collaborate with you on this board. I think it's a most worthy endeavor. So thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to serve, and I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, welcome, brother. And it's always good to have somebody on the board with us.
Thank you.
Since we've got roll call done, let's go ahead and go to the meeting minutes from January 21st meeting. I'm going to guess all of y'all read those from Kim's report. If you didn't get a copy of that, or there's any issues with that, go ahead and speak up now.
Were those emailed?
I believe so.
I did not get a copy.
Okay. All right, I will see if I can email that to you after a while.
No worries.
Pardon?
No worries.
Okay. Is there any public comment on the meeting minutes from the January 21st meeting? All right, if not, I'll go ahead and call for approval of the meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, meeting minutes are approved. All right. Report on the Texas Lottery Commission meeting from February 11th to 2021. That would have been Kim Rogers. She had to give that. Tyler, were there any issues from that meeting? Were you there for that, since Kim's not here today?
Yeah, I was there. I don't recall any issues from Kim's side. The only thing of significance that I can recall is that was the meeting I was appointed as the acting director for the bingo division.
Well, I think that's very significant, and since you brought that up, my condolences and my congratulations at the same time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. If there's anything we can do to help, just don't hesitate to reach out. I know I'm technologically challenged. I respond better to text messages and phone calls than I do emails sometimes. So if you need to get a hold of me, I'm always available.
Very good.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to item 7, discussion and possible action on rules up for review and change.
Hey, Trace,
can they activate Jason Pohl to a panelist, please?
I believe he is a panelist. He may have to unmute.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, yeah, he's on.
Okay. All right. Can you hear us, Jason?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good to have you with us, sir. All right. Item number 7, discussion and possible action on rules up for review and change. Tyler, do y'all have anything that's upcoming in the next short while on rule review and change?
No, we sure don't. Having completed that the biannual rule or quadrennial, I believe it is, rule review in October, we don't have anything on our radar, but of course we're always open to any suggestions or improvements that you guys are looking at.
Okay.
Trace,
Here-
I have a question.
Yeah, Melody.
Hi, hi, Tyler. I remember the last one we were talking about the temporaries on demand, and I believe Alice said she was working on a form. Tyler, has that form is that available to us now?
It's not quite. So the forms have been done, they're completed, and we're testing it through BOSS and through BSP. It sounds like they've got most of the kinks worked out, but they're still having trouble linking the two programs to make sure that they're both accurately keeping track of how many temporaries have been requested and used. But my folks tell me that they think we're very close. We were originally thinking maybe the end of this week, but then ran into some issues. So I don't know exactly when, but we're getting very close to having it finished. And once it's good to go, I just don't want to put it out and then have a bunch of problems further down the road. So I want it to be, nice and tight and finished before we put it out, and then it'll be ready. And the way it's going to work is there's the form 17 and 18, and you will submit 17 to request the temporaries, and then 18 you'll be required to send us after you use it. And then that way we can keep track of it. But once you submit the request, we're going to issue you a blank license, without a date, without a time. And then it's your responsibility to notify us after you've used it.
That's a lot of work, and I do appreciate you spearheading this and pushing this through. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Yeah, and I'll reach out to BAC and the lawyers and everyone once we've got it going, so you guys can start using it right away.
Thank you.
All right. Good deal. And this, so this would probably be more directed to the staff than anything. I had a manufacturer reach out to me in the past couple of weeks, and there was some concerns that they had about the approval process on software changes. Basically, what they had described to me was that the way the process is working in real life for them is they submit a software change to GLI, and GLI approves it or does whatever they do, and then it goes to lottery, and then lottery has to redo the same testing, and then after that they can't actually put it into a test market until everything is approved. And I know this is kind of a quick question, I guess. But Tyler, are you familiar enough with that process to kind of give us a idea of how that process is going, or anything like that?
No, not really. I'm looking at the rule approval of card mining systems, so you can.
I think
that we're talking about the software for card miners.
yes, sir. And I think they're I don't want to use the word issue, but I think their concern is the time frame that it's taking them just to make a software change, and they were reporting somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 9 months to be able to get just the software change done.
Oh, wow. So our rule says, it says the commission shall either approve or disapprove the submission based on the test results within 30 days of receipt of the test results. And you can, or they can rather, they can utilize an independent testing facility. If there's, and the labs can run the test based on our compliance standards. And then once we get those test results, we're required to approve or deny it within 30 days. There was an option for the agency to do testing, but I don't think we do that or haven't done it in quite a while. But let me see. I see Vivian has raised her hand, it looks like. Or maybe not. I don't. Yeah, if there's anybody. Yeah, there we go. Vivian's raised her hand. So Bill, if you could let Vivian speak up, sounds like she knows more about it than I do.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, the answer is we do not retest. Once you submit the lab report, we will review the lab report. We do not retest. The retesting process was established in the past. It's before I got into this agency. It's been a year and a half. And once we get the report, we actually just review to make sure that is compliant with whatever the tech rule or the BEA rule. That's all we review. Then we will go through the approval process and get, the director to review. And of course, sometimes we will request the manufacturer to demonstrate, what is being changed.
Sure.
If you have any question, feel free to reach out to us. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay. So if I may, like when they put something in, let's say they use GLI, for instance, they use them and they put in a software change. When it comes out of GLI, do they have to wait until it's fully approved to be able to test it? Or are they allowed to like put it in a beta hall to test it before it comes back out and is approved?
I thought that when they submit the software change, they have to submit the lab testing report. At that time, it should be tested.
Okay. Okay. And
so when they do the demonstration to us, and that time it should be ready, to be put it out or to be used by the, customers. That's the reason for the approval process. We are trying to speed it up the process. I believe usually it's quite quick turnaround. If they encounter any issue, please let me know. Okay. I haven't been notified there's any issue.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I don't think there was a specific instance or a specific issue. I think it was just a timing thing for them. Okay. I wasn't real clear on what they were asking. I was just wanting to broach the subject, and if they want to submit something saying that they need clarification on something, I'll let that be up to them. Okay. I mean, our process is actually quite on time in terms of the turnaround. Yeah. If they feel like there's some timing issue, like I said, please feel free to reach out to us. Yes, ma'am. I will let you know. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is there any other public comment on possible action for rules up for review or change? right. If not, we'll, I don't think we need to approve anything on that. On number 8, discussion on all House bills or bills, period, filed pertaining to bingo, gaming, and Keno. I would like to first kind of go out on a limb here and talk about the Keno bill. I think most people in the industry were pretty shocked when they saw the Keno bill come out. That was, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess approved or maybe even sanctioned by the Texas Lottery Commission. In most of the industry's mind that I've talked to, Keno is a lot like bingo. And I think most people see that as a direct competition to bingo. It was very disappointing to see that come out and not have a heads up that that was being worked on prior to the session, or at least during the session. That was pretty disappointing. I don't know if anybody wants to add in on that. I wish that the commission had reached out to the bingo folks and talked to us a little bit about that. But is there any movement or any direction on that? Does anybody from the staff know about that bill or want to chime in on that?
I'm gonna defer to GA on this. If either if Fritz or if Nelda's available. I haven't been following that bill. I'm following the 2 bingo bills, but I'm not following the bingo bill. And as far as I know, I mean, the agency doesn't take a position on any bill, either positively or negatively. We're not legally allowed to. Whatever the bill is, we make comments on how it may affect the agency, but we're not allowed to advocate either way for any bill.
Gotcha. I don't guess you've seen that video with the Texas Lottery stamp all over the Keno bill, then, have you?
And I have not, no.
Yeah, that was it. Definitely looks, it portrays it as the Texas Lottery Commission is supporting that bill. I'll try to get that emailed to you. That's exactly what it looks like, and I think that's where the kind of the shock to our industry was coming from. But I'll try to send that to you.
Good morning, Trace. This is Nelda Trevino. Can you hear me?
How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Let me just add to Tyler's comments and echo what he said, that the agency is, does not take a position on legislation. And I understand what you're saying about being shocked, I guess is the term that you used.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, the agency, and let me be very clear about this, the agency was not involved regarding the filing of that legislation. That was done by Representative Joe Moody. And
Right.
so I want to be very clear that the agency was not involved in the filing of that legislation. The video that you're referring to, if there's Texas Lottery Commission seals on that, that is not something that was produced or sanctioned by the Lottery Commission.
Gotcha. Well, we're not mad at you, Nelda, I promise. It was just kind of shocking that, that, because, I mean, let's be honest, a legislator's not going to just introduce a bill that, has something to do with a state agency without the state agency at least getting a heads up it was going to be filed.
Let me make that very clear again. When we became aware of the bill, it's when it was filed, Trace. So I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't always occur. A member of the legislature can file a bill without reaching out to an agency happens many times. Been in
Well,
state government for over 30 years and I've seen it happen many, many
that's
times.
not very nice of them to y'all.
I totally agree.
That's not very nice of them to do that to y'all. I'll say that and leave it at that. All right. Does anybody else want to? I appreciate you, Nelda. Thank you for explaining that a little bit.
You're more than welcome.
And that we kind of wanted to address a little bit because Keno is a lot like bingo. So is there any other bills or anything? Will, I know that Conservative Texans has a bill out for the pull tab carryover bill. Do you want to comment on that or have anything to say about that?
This is the same bill that we've run through the House twice, and we're hoping that we can get it through the Senate this time. I don't understand how Boyd Gaming, a out-of-state casino, can lobby against our bill and get it killed, but that's what happened last session. I mean, with them being able to do that, and now casinos wanting to come into Texas, Conservative Texans is of the opinion of why do we want to invite the devil into our house?
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anybody from the staff that wants to address any of the bills or anything, talk about any of them? I want to make sure that y'all have an opportunity to comment or do anything on that.
Sure. This is Tyler. We were at the Capitol yesterday for a hearing by the licensing committee of the House on Bill 2204, which is kind of the bill by the Bingo Interest Group and TCA. Stephen Fanolio testified in favor of it. And if he's here, he can certainly elaborate. And Tom Stewart was there. I see his hands up, so he would like to talk about it. Mitch Fuller from the VFW testified in favor of it. And I believe Rob Kohler testified as a neutral. And then I was asked a question about the status of the prize fee situation with regards to payments to local governments. But other than that, it seemed like a very smooth meeting. There weren't a whole lot of questions. We didn't face any major issues. But I see Tom Stewart's hand up. So Bill, if you can let Tom speak.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it's not much to add from what Tyler said. Overall, good hearing on the bill. There was an issue that Tarrant County raised about the local prize fee money. We think we've addressed that for them, and they've withdrawn whatever objection that they had. And Ms. Thompson did indicate to the committee that they expect to vote some bills out next week. She didn't specifically mention any of the 2204 or any of the other bingo related bills, but it would be my hope that her bill would be in that mix next week.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Does anybody else want to comment on any legislation that have been filed or anything at all?
Hey, this is Veronica.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to revisit the Keno issue. Is there anything we can do, or can we talk to somebody, or is it too late to talk to somebody?
This is Tom. Hey, Trey.
Nelda, I'll respond to that, Trace. I know when the bill was considered before the House Licensing Committee a couple of weeks ago, Steve Bresnan testified on the bill. He mentioned he was working with the bill author, Representative Joe Moody. So, you know, again, the bill author is Representative Joe Moody, and he might be someone that you all might want to communicate with. And then again, Steve Bresden provided some comments at the committee hearing when this bill was considered. So I don't know if he's on the call here, and if he might want to comment about it.
Don't see Steve on the call.
Hey, Trace.
Yes.
This is Tom. The only thing I'll add on is that I know that Steve Bresnan has talked a couple of times to Representative Moody. The bill hasn't been voted out of committee yet. What I'll do is check this week and follow up with you and the other members of the BAC to kind of let folks know where things stand on that. And even if we expect that legislation to keep moving forward.
And again, this is Nelda, and Tom, I believe that bill was voted out of committee.
Okay.
I believe it was, yes.
Okay, well, I'll just check the status on it and let folks know.
All righty, thank you. All right, is anybody else would like to comment on old business or
Emil has his hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to throw this out there to you. There are two states, Nebraska and Ohio, that have a similar Keno operation. It's not very social, and we don't consider it a competition to our business, just for your information.
Okay. All right. Do you know if they have that in, is it in liquor establishments only, or is it everywhere?
It's in Nebraska, it's just about everywhere, and I'm not sure about Ohio, but I think it's just liquor establishments.
Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else want to comment on bills filed pertaining to bingo, gaming, or Keno? All right. If not, let's move on to number 9, old business. Electronic gift cards. I believe that we had some issues on from the Native American groups on the electronic gift cards, and we may have sorted all that out in the last meeting that I wasn't at. Is there any movement or any issues that anybody wants to talk about that?
This is Tyler Vance. So the status of this is I provided a draft rule that modifies the original that I, think will relieve the concerns of the Kickapoo. But the BAC hasn't taken any formal action on it, so we need you guys to go ahead and approve the rule as drafted, and then government affairs will reach out to the Kickapoo, and we want to run it by them before we publish it, so that we don't go through all this effort and then they're not happy with it still. So I think this rule needs to go through a little bit of a different process, but at this point we're just waiting for the BAC to say go ahead and go forward with the rule as drafted. And I emailed that out to you guys, I think on Monday. And I'm happy to read it too, if everyone would like.
Yeah, if you could just, and if you don't mind too, Tyler, if you could give everybody some backstory on this as well. And I can't remember for the life of me, do the Kickapoos, they don't have a bingo license in Texas, right?
They do not. They're within their own jurisdiction. They have a federal gaming license, and the state doesn't really have any authority over them.
Right.
Their objection to the rule is they were concerned that a digital gift card could be used basically at your table. So you could take a card minder and you could just load credits on a card, and it would kind of drift into almost like an 8-liner type situation where a player, wins credits and buys more games with those credits and does that all on their own. And so the rule was modified to make it clear that the gift card cannot be applied to an electronic device directly. Like you can't plug it into your card minder. That the gift card has to, the use of a gift card has to involve a point of sale system and an organization employee, so that the player can't just sit there and win and reload and win and reload. That they use the card just like a gift card, just like a paper gift card. It just happens to be on a plastic card instead.
Okay. I'm kind of a common sense guy. I don't I don't pretend to be the computer savvy person, but some things that stick out to me, and I think I've voiced this before. If the industry is trying to do something to help the industry, and they're not a part of the industry, I'm sure they're great people, and I've never dealt with them or met with them, and I'm sure they've got a reason for their position, and I do respect that. But if it doesn't benefit them or hurt them, hey, let's help our own industry. That's just my 2 cents worth. Is there anybody have a position on that, or is anybody ready to vote on that?
This is Will Martin. I'm ready to vote on it. I understand their concern. They just wanted to make sure that we weren't using a gift card to obtain playbacks on the machines. And our thing was it would be much cheaper for us to use electronic gift cards than to print out the paper ones all the time.
I agree with that. Will, are you so you're okay with this the way it's written now?
Yes, sir. I've read what Tyler emailed out, and we are completely behind it. We agree with everything. I would vote yes on this.
Okay. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this? If Steve Finelio is on the card or on the call, or Tom Stewart, do y'all want to comment on this at all? Any other member of the public?
This is Tom. I haven't seen it, so I would hesitate to say one way or the other. The way Tyler describes it, though, as long as it solves whatever their issue is, I think it's worth moving forward.
Okay, Melody, are you still on?
Yes, and it's like you said, Trace, this is very frustrating where Boyd Gaming and the Kickapoo can control what bingo does. If they don't like it, it's just another replaying your credits. If somebody buys a pull tab, they replay it right there. So it is very frustrating, but it seems that if we don't do what they want, we're not going to get anything.
Okay.
So I'm frustrated with it, but I guess that's the way it goes.
Okay. Veronica, did you get back on the call, dear? I know you got kicked off.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Have you read this?
I'm with you. I mean, I don't know why somebody else is trying to infringe on our industry. I mean, we're going to try to do what's best for our industry, and I'm kind of like on your side on that. I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. I'm a little hesitant to call for a vote on this just yet. because I have not had a chance to actually read this. Um, but if it is what Tyler says it is, I've got no issues doing that. So why don't we go ahead and call for a vote to approve the electronic gift card rule as Tyler described it to us. And all in favor, say aye.
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 And all opposed? Okay. So,
Okay. So then, like I said, the next step is we're going to pass this draft rule on to governmental affairs, and they'll reach out to the Kickapoo. And like I said, we're going to try to massage it with them before we go through the official publication and public notice process, so that we don't have any hiccups, 4 months from now. So we resolve those issues up front.
okay. And Tyler, I hope you understand the BAC's and the industry's frustration on this deal.
Yeah, sure. And I, just from our perspective, it's, I understand your frustration, but the reality of the matter is, those guys, they have a lot of influence, and, they can make things difficult for everybody involved in this. So it's important that, they are stakeholders. They are a gaming entity in the state of Texas. And so we need to consider their position, and, they're of course looking out for their own best interests, just like everybody else.
Absolutely, I do. I just hope they remember to share their toys later. We like to play
They have
ball.
a month. Yeah.
We like to play ball too. All right, well, good deal. Okay, well, there you go. Is there any public comment on this that hasn't happened yet? Okay. All right, let's move to item number 10, new business. Is there anything from any of the BAC members that you want to bring up under new business?
I have a question. I was wondering whatever came about of the side group or committee that was supposed to be set up with Steve Fenolio about the Facebook stuff.
I do not know. I was not on that committee.
I was supposed to be on it, and I never heard anything from anybody. So I just was wondering what became about it.
I was supposed to too, and I never heard anything either.
I believe what's happened on that, once the got started, I know Steve is doing some work, actually quite a bit of work, for some groups in the bingo industry. I feel like that probably just got set aside and hasn't happened yet. Tyler, do you know, have y'all done anything actively about the Facebook stuff?
When we receive complaints, we pass it on. We have a direct contact at Facebook. And since I've been the acting director, I think we've got 2 or 3 complaints, and I sent them onto Facebook, and they removed the pages at issue. So that's still working from our perspective. We encourage you guys to go through the process yourselves, as we sent out the method of complaining to Facebook. But of course, feel free to forward that on to us too, and we'll pass it along. But as far as the Fenolio subcommittee, I really don't have anything to do with that. So.
Right. I know you can't talk about an active case specifically, but once they do find someone that's hosting one of those pages, like say they're buying pull tabs out of Louisiana and they're selling them in Texas, are y'all taking a active, aggressive approach to prosecution on that? Or, I mean,
what we do, it depends on the complaint. So many times the complaint comes in and it's got the page. And so we just forward the page on, but sometimes it comes in and it's got the page and it's got links to the people who are running the page. And in those cases, we check them against the registry to see if they have licenses. But a lot of times you can use whatever name you want on Facebook, and so we get people that have names that are not they're not Paul Smith. So it's not something that you would expect to find in the registry. So it makes it very difficult from our end, but we do try. We run their names through, and if we find somebody on the registry, then yeah, we'll definitely pursue it.
So if they're not on the registry, but you get a serial number, and I'm not talking specifically here. I'm just saying in general. So if you see a serial number from a pull tab, but nobody's on the registry, are y'all still actively trying to find out where those tabs came from and who purchased them?
Yeah, sure, we would do that. But typically when a complaint comes in, we just get like a screenshot of the group. We're not, people aren't sending us, hardcore video evidence with close-ups of the pull tabs that are being used, in general. But yeah, if we receive that information, if we see, Texas pull tabs, and we have enough evidence to act on it, then we certainly will. But in general, the complaints we get are, frankly, more of a personal nature. These people were mean to me. These people didn't pay me. Things like that are the kind of complaints we get from the public. So, there's just not a whole lot of information for us to act on in there other than there's clearly a legal bingo. And so we forward it to Facebook and they shut it down.
Alrighty.
This is Melody. Tyler, have you been receiving many complaints, or has it slowed down?
No, I think it's slowed down. I'm not sure exactly how many we were receiving when Tom was in charge, but since I've been here in the last month or so, I think we've gotten 3. And they were all resolved pretty quickly. And like I said, I haven't seen any from industry groups. It's more it's players, people who I would assume were participating in the online game and didn't like how it turned out. But nonetheless, we still forward those to Facebook. I see Emil's got his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that through our NAFTM webpage, we get about 3 complaints a week. And I typically forward them the instructions that Tom had provided us as to how to file the complaints on the Facebook page. And I also forward them the contact information for the regulatory agency in their jurisdiction that they're emailing me from. But we're still getting plenty of complaints.
Emil, and maybe this is a manufacturer question, so I'm going to direct this towards you. If you get a serial number off of a tab, would you be able to see what distributor out of state sold that?
Absolutely. We've been tracing them now since March of last year. We've got a list of distributors that are suspect. We have contacted all their regulatory agencies to let them know that we think their product is going outside the licensing scheme, and we encourage them to enforce their own laws. But we've been doing that since last March.
And have you got a lot of resistance on that, or is it just kind of?
We've got a couple that just said, we're not going to stop. It's too profitable, and we don't need your product. We'll get it from somewhere else. It's frustrating, very frustrating.
So
I think Texas is the only agency that's really trying to aggressively go after these people, if you want to know my opinion.
Right. So Tyler, let me ask the question, and this may be, I don't know, and
you got mail.
Scope, but let's take Louisiana, for instance, because that's where I'm seeing a lot of the pull tabs come out of. just because I'm on the border here. Is the gaming entity in Louisiana, the Gaming Commission, I don't know what it really is called. Do y'all have a good relationship with them, and have y'all been in contact with them regarding Louisiana pull tabs coming into Texas?
We've not been in contact with them. I don't know what our relationship with them is. I suspect the lottery side probably has a good relationship with them. But as far as I don't know that their bingo is ran by the same organization as their lottery. I would assume so, but I don't know that.
Tyler, it's run by Department of Revenue. Mike Lejeune is the director. I'm very good friends with him. We have traced no product to Louisiana so far from our company. And we're pretty familiar with all the distributors there. So if you've got one that came from a Louisiana distributor, I've got the connections that can take care of that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll get with you after the after the show's over.
Okay.
Well, and I put you on the spot, Tyler. I apologize for doing that. I think it's just one of those things that, we're just asking questions as they come to mind as we go on this, because it's definitely uncharted territory for us as well, and we know that it's definitely uncharted territory for y'all. So we're not pointing fingers or anything. We're just asking questions as we're rolling with it.
Sure thing. Yeah, I I think a guy named Emile Bourgogne would be your man in Louisiana.
Gotcha. All right, well, we'll get after that. Is there any other new business? All right. Well, if there's no other new business, let's set a date for the next meeting. Tyler, do you know when the next commissioners meeting is? What the date?
Yes, we've got one on April 8th, and then the next one is scheduled on June 10th.
All right. And do we have an idea when we'll be able to have a face-to-face meeting now that the governor has lifted all the sanctions?
Well, I think the plan is, Bob, chime in here. I think the plan is for the June 10th meeting to be in person.
Hi, this is Bob Beard, General Counsel. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, great. So we're waiting to get direction from the governor's office. They've been in communication with all state agencies and said that that sometime, quote, soon, they will be sending further direction to state agencies about their open meetings. But for now, the suspended open meetings laws that the governor approved about a year ago are still in effect. And the message was that we would have plenty of lead time to prepare for the transition back. So we have not received that word yet. So we're prepared. We're anticipating that it could be June 10th, but at this point we don't know.
Gotcha. Well, I definitely miss seeing all y'all smiling faces. I feel like we get more work done when we actually have a face-to-face meeting, but we're definitely making some headway doing it this way. All right, so we need to have a meeting sometime in between April the 8th and June the 10th, did you say? Was that next
Sir.
meeting? Okay. All right. So has anybody got any dates that they would like to propose? Tyler, is there a date that works better for you?
I'm looking at my calendar, and I have one day in May the 12th that doesn't have any meetings on it. So
Well,
that one's screaming out at me.
If nobody's got a problem with May 12th, I'm good with that.
That works for me.
I'm
That's
good with
fine.
that.
I'm good.
Sounds good to me.
got May the 12th marked off at 10 a.m. And hopefully we can do that in person, but if not, we'll be back. All righty, well, we'll adjourn the meeting, and Corey, welcome to your second meeting.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it again.
Absolutely. And if anybody else needs to address anything, we will do it at the next meeting. Shoot me an email or a phone call, and we'll get it on the agenda.
Thank you, Trace. Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.
Congratulations,
everyone.
Tyler.
Thank you, sir.